Welcome to Empowerment Radio. My name is Dr. Friedemann, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me. Empowerment Radio is about giving you the insights, tools, and solutions to address some of the most challenging aspects of our daily lives. So sit back, relax, and empower yourself. Welcome back to Empowerment Radio. I'm here with Maurice Benard, and we're talking about his book, which is about his life, which is about his also struggles with bipolar disorder, anxiety, and so on. Now, Maurice, one of the things that I'm really curious about is whether you see an upside of your mental health challenges. Now, is there anything that you would say, well, if I wouldn't have those, I may be a different person. Maybe I would not be so good in my acting career because I really know the depths of the psyche. I know the depth of the emotions, or maybe I would be not as compassionate or empathetic because I would be much more cocky and maybe more angry. Or what would you say? What is there any upside that you could have seen or could see from your challenges?
Well, I always tell people they should be proud of what they have, because it truly does make you who you are. Because of what I've been through and overcome, without that, I don't think I'd have the strength to deal with show business. Show business is tough, rejection, getting treated bad, this and that. But when you've gone through a breakdown or anxiety or depression, people keep thinking it's a weak thing. It's not weak. Can you imagine you've just overpowered Mike Tyson? That's the way I like to look at it.
Yeah. So the Mike Tyson,
just fought Mike Tyson.
Anxiety, yeah.
You just fought for 12 rounds. And maybe you didn't win, but you did it for 12 rounds. But you won enough to feel good now. And I keep stressing that. So for me, I know when I'm in it, I have all those bad thoughts. I'm weak. I'm never going to get out. This is not good. This is bad. But when I'm through with it, I can sit there and raise my hand up and go, yeah, I went through all this. I mean, just going through what I did in the being tied down to a bed. A lot of people may not be able to go through that. And so I say, be proud of being bipolar, of anxiety, of any of this stuff, because you may not have the strength if you didn't go through it. That's my theory. But.
Yeah. Well, I feel also that it puts a lot of things in perspective, because you know that there's way more than maybe a nasty critic. There's way more worse things than, maybe having not such a good day on the set or something like this, because you have seen that, there is pain, there is suffering, there is struggle, and it can just, put a little bit the small stuff aside. I don't know if you see it that way, but I feel when people are really struggling, that also makes them more appreciative of the good things and not sweat the small stuff so much.
Yeah, and also with this quarantine, I told my producer this. I think this quarantine positively has made all these actors appreciate their job more. Because this being stuck in here is not good. I mean, a lot of times I always say I want to retire. I'm now rethinking retire. I don't know if I could do this. I mean, it would be different though with everything open and everything. I mean, it's just the quarantine.
Right.
I mean, everything's shut down. You can't do anything. You can't go eat out there. You can't. Whoo! Sure does make you feel you want to go to work.
Well, sometimes contrast is just a wonderful teacher, right? It's like when you feel sick, You appreciate being healthy again. When you feel locked in, you're so much more excited about freedom. When you cannot work, you're looking forward to work. I know we are kind of born to learn through contrast. But one of the things that I find interesting in your book is that as a child, you were also kind of two people, because talking about contrast, because you were kind of a wild child who didn't really shy away from a fight, but then you also were very empathetic. I mean, you were like feeling also very empathetic for the handicapped kids, and so that is certainly also something that you could say, well, maybe I'm going through this too, not in a bipolar way, but that there is a tough side of me, but then there is also a very empathetic, vulnerable, sensitive side of me. Do you ever find that in yourself still?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can as tough as a lot of people are kind of afraid of me or something because the way I look, my energy, whatever. But I can be tough because I'm a fighter. But that other side of me, when I see a kid who's hurting in a wheelchair or something like that, and it breaks me, man.
Hmm.
It breaks me, and it always has ever since I was a little boy. If there was somebody in class that was, mentally charged, and he was sitting there, and and then my wife would say to me, "Honey, you shouldn't feel that way because they don't really know. They're not hurting. They're in their mind. They're happy. They're."
Yeah.
I said, "I don't know what it is. It's something I've always had in me." And in my book, that was a trip when all those all these they started coming to the car, and I was like, there was a school of kids in need.
Hmm.
I was going through a breakdown, and it was like, woo! I was scared. I don't know why I was scared, but and then when they came to me, it was beautiful, man. I don't know what I said to them. I forget, but it was beautiful.
So these kids came to you? I don't know that part. I couldn't read all the
Oh
people.
no, yeah, I was. Yeah, there was like a bunch of kids in special needs class,
Hmm.
and I was driving through this thing, and then they're in front of me, and they all started coming to me, and it was so overwhelming in my heart
Hmm.
that I was like almost not scared, but overwhelmed. And I said to the teacher, because I think I was going to be on a TV show then. I really wasn't. I don't know if I was, but it was way back. Was it? No, I wasn't with all my children. No, but I was going to be on some show in San Francisco, and then she came up with all the kids, and they started shaking my hand, and it was just wow. It was it was like I was Jesus or something. And
uh,
I don't know. And because I think she said, "Oh, I don't know if they'll want to come up," and then I said, "Hi guys," and they all started coming up. It was a trip.
yeah.
But anyway, I've had that sensitive side with me my whole time. Like I'll be sitting out watching, kids play or animals, and I'll start crying. So it's two sides to the coin.
It's a beautiful side, certainly, and I'm sure that the sensitive side lets you also play, this more sensitive aspects in your roles. I mean, there's definitely,
Yeah.
you were in the actor studio, and I think a lot in the actor studio is about going back to your personal experiences, tapping into those experiences, and then bringing them out in your acting. And I'm sure that sensitive side and this empathy really served you well in that regard as well.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started General Hospital, I played, Sonny, and I was bad. I'm talking bad. I mean, I gave drugs to a 16-year-old. I just owned a nightclub. I was just killing people, and I knew. that I had, if I was going to, because I didn't know, I thought it's a 6-month rule. That's what it was.
Uh-huh.
Now it's 27 years. But I thought that, but I liked it. I liked it because I didn't know if I was going to like it. But I liked it. So I said, what do I, now, what do I do now? So I said, I got to change it up. So I started showing a little more vulnerability and started like when I would give her drugs, I in my mind I played that I was giving her lithium to
Hmm.
help her. So I changed that way of doing it.
Wow.
And the audience started turning and I accomplished what I wanted. And 27 years later, here we are.
No, I mean,
Because they saw this bad.
you know, I have to admit, I had my time with General Hospital. This was about 20 years ago. And so I think this was probably a time where you already had established this more empathetic side. And, you know, there was at least 6 months where I was completely hooked and it was really sunny. And, you know, his different ways of being and these little glimmers of his, you know, more sensitive side that makes you fascinated about the show, that makes you kind of at the edge of the seat, not really knowing, you know, who's going to show up. And yeah, I think
Yeah,
you nailed it in there.
I changed it because if I didn't change it, they wouldn't have. I wouldn't be there
Well, at some point it gets
because it was
boring,
so
but
bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, he was. I was so bad. Now the other star of the show was Tony Gary, and I just told somebody this, and the biggest ever, and he raped his girl, and then they became the biggest couple ever. It's weird, but then back then you could do that. Now you're
That
done.
would not fly anymore. No, definitely not a good idea. Now, Maurice, one of the things in the book that you mentioned, and I just want to, and I hope it's okay to talk about this, but one of the things that still fascinates me is that you have so much love, and we talk about empathy, and I think you also, you know, have a lot of compassion for yourself more now than probably 30 years ago, but you have a hard time saying to people that you love them. Why do you think that is?
Because um, that's the way I was brought up.
Hmm.
I couldn't break that chain, and I'm not happy. I don't feel good that I didn't break that chain, but I couldn't break that chain. Um,
Yeah.
it's what it is that you create a monster. So you don't say it, then you don't say it, then you don't say it, then you can't say it. It just now, now people would say, I mean, you would say, you can do it now, and I know, but it's so hard, and I know for people it seems kind of like, what do you mean it's hard? But I know just from my mom, my mom is saying it now, and I got to be honest, I kind of resent it a little bit, like now you're saying it.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know, we didn't really do that. And my dad doesn't say it.
But you hear it yourself from others
So
quite a bit, right? I mean, people besides your mom tell you that they
yeah,
love
yeah,
you. And I'm sure your
yeah,
fans send you posts and letters how much
yeah,
they love you. I mean, you get showered with love left and right. There is no
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And even my producer just now, he's like, "Oh, I love you, Maurice," and I said, "Love you too." Easy.
Oh, here we go. You said it. Love you too.
Yeah. Oh, I'll say it to friends,
Uh-huh.
and but not my own family. I can't say it, and
Yeah.
it's not something I'm proud of at all. And especially with my girls, I'm not. They know I love them and all that, but they don't. I don't show affection that way, and
Hmm.
it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's fascinating to see how you also have these imprints of the past that even after all those years and, after all the work that you did, they're still keeping you a little bit tied down. And I think a lot of the listeners can relate to that, how we really are, even though we have a desire to be different, we're still doing the same thing that was done to us, as if we don't really have yet the permission to do that. Now, in my case, I was German, and so people in Germany don't necessarily, or at least at the time when I was little, say I love you outside of a romantic relationship. So you don't say I love you to your child, because love you, ich liebe dich, is more like about, husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, and so on. So I wasn't used to say this either to my parents or anybody, really, because I didn't grow up with that. But now that my primary language is English, I have a much easier time to say it. So maybe you want to try to say those things in French or Spanish or Italian or something like this. Maybe it's going to be easier for you to express it, because it's just not the same association anymore. Well,
That's a
unfortunately,
good
Maurice,
way.
we are out of time. So I really, really appreciate that you took the time to share about your book, about your life. And is there any message, any final word that you want to share with all those people that really read your book and see themselves in what you were writing?
Um, if you have any kind of mental illness, just get professional help. Call Dr. Schaub like I did, and you know, keep moving forward. Stay out of your negative thoughts, and know that it's not impossible. The impossible in your thoughts is not impossible in reality.
Very good. Thank you so much. I think that's really, really important to hear. And it's so much more impactful to hear it from you. So that was it for Empowerment Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in, for always being willing to grow. We will be back on Thursday. Hi, Dr. Friedemann here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about fear and anxiety, here you'll find guided meditations, webinars, and interviews with some of the most renowned experts in the field of empowerment. Delve into the over 230 videos and more to come every week.